Hello, everyone. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I hope everyone is all well out there on this Wednesday. International breaks are depressing, but the show must go on E20 Zone TV. And we're here to talk about a man who was once the star boy, and now he's the man everyone wants to sell. To my right is Jay. You know who he is by now, and he's going to give you his lowdown on it. Jay, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Like I say, we're like you said, we're navigating the drought that is international break. But we are here to fulfil everyone's West Ham content needs as per. How are you, my
Yeah.
friend?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Listen, it's these sort of videos I don't mind doing because they're short, sweet, straight to the point, and there's no emotion involved. Where some people get a bit of emotion on, especially the West Ham community. And yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm glad that there's no football for a couple of weeks, but we're going to talk about Mohammed Kudus. Um, let's start off with this. Why has Mohammed Kudus's performances dropped off this season, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack in that question, isn't there? If you look at, first of all, the key stats from last season in the Premier League, scored 8 and assisted 6, which in someone's first season in the Premier League, I think is a pretty good return, considering you've got to adapt to the league. You've got to
Yeah,
adapt to what was an Ajax team that played a lot of passing and possession-based football to a West Ham team that played primarily on the counter-attack. And obviously, to start with as well, he couldn't get in the side. And I know David Moyes liked to gently break people into the Premier League, give them a bit of a slower introduction. And then when he scored that first goal against Newcastle, there was no looking back, was there? I think Antonio got injured for a bit. He played out on the right-hand side. Bowen went up front, and we saw Mo at his free-flying best. We saw all of the best bits. You know, when you see comps of players when they're about to
yeah.
join and all you see is their best bits, it felt like we were seeing that week in, week out. It felt like every time he got the ball, it was electric. I was excited to see what he was going to do. Um, he ended up starting on the right-hand side. He did a little bit of a graveyard shift on the left, and then Paqueta went out to the left. And then he went down the middle, and he looked equally as good in the middle. And I will forever remember that goal at home against Freiburg was the epitome of what you get from Mo Kudus. He picked the ball up 30 yards out from his own goal, ran the whole length of the pitch, left players on their arse, beat 6 of them, and tucked it in the bottom corner. Best goal
Yeah,
I've ever seen live. And you compare that to this year, Premier League, he's got 3 goals, 1 assist, 1 red card that resulted in a 4-match ban, if I remember rightly, against Spurs. It's difficult, isn't it, mate? Like he never really looked comfortable. I would say, firstly, towards the end of last season, but no one looked comfortable towards the end of last
yeah,
season. You look at where he's gone now. You've got Bowen had at the first part of the season cemented down the right hand sides. Paqueta was playing more centrally. We're playing a flat 3, and Kudus was kind of lost on that left hand side. We talked about him extensively at the start of the season. And that left wing has been cursed for West Ham this whole season. Nobody has been able to make that their own. Even you can go back years and say we haven't had a top quality left winger for a long, long time.
true.
No name actually comes to mind for the last top quality left winger that we had. You probably have to go back to Payet when he played on the left and he tucked in, and he just kind of roamed around and did brilliant things, didn't he? So you look at the output. You could first and foremost say, does the style of play change affect him? Personally, I'd say yes. We were really good on the counter with that front 3. And I was thinking about this, right? You had a 3 attacking players. At one point, a front 3 of Bowen, Kudus, and Paqueta. And when the 3 of those are at their best, you've got £250 million worth of talent there. Like Bowen doesn't go for shy of 100 mil. Paqueta was on the verge of an 80 mil transfer. And we were talking about losing Kudus for his release clause of 85
Yeah.
mil. It's crazy, isn't it, when you think about that?
When,
And
when I look back at that, just to say this quick, yeah, when I
yeah.
look back at that, I remember it like clear as day. It's one of the best front 3s in the Premier League. Bowen up front, Kudus on the right, Paqueta on the left, and for some reason it just fell off an edge of a cliff. Now, did it fall off an edge of a cliff because of the manager? Maybe a little bit. Maybe the style didn't match what we were trying to do. But I do feel that, like, I feel Mo's quite harshly treated amongst the
Mm.
West Ham community, and I don't understand really why. He's had a bad running this year with 2 managers, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like this is a new manager he's got now, so he's got to learn his philosophy. He didn't get on with the other manager, like, and he proved that against the Brentford game away from home when they was raring in the changing room and all that. People say he's down tools for a move. Listen, Mo hasn't got a damn tools because he's good enough to get a move in the first place. Do you get what I'm saying? Why do you think though he's sort of well? Why? That's the question. Why has he gone? Why he's gone?
I think quite simply, we're not playing him in his best position because we can't play him in his best position for two reasons. One,
Yeah,
our best player, Jarrod Bowen, plays in his best position. And we know when you move him out of the right wing slot, you don't get the best out of him, which is why we've struggled to get the best out of Jarrod Bowen this season. He's scored something like 7 or 8 goals this year.
what's
Which
his best position, Jay?
Mo's best position is on the right, 100%. He has to be on the right-hand side of a 4-2-3-1, which is just not what we play. We didn't play it under Lopetegui, and we don't play it under Potter. This 5-3-2, we're just not going to get the best out of Kudus and Bowen if we play that system. And that's something that I know that we'll come to in a moment. But his best position's on the right. We haven't played a system that suited him all season. He's been doing the graveyard shifts on the left. Like that's hurt him massively. Probably hurt his confidence as well. You look at him in front of goal, and this is the second part of it. He's just bereft of confidence. He's gone from playing under David Moyes, who was a fantastic man manager and was so well liked by all of his players, regardless of what you think of the man. I think his style got a bit stale. Teams had figured us out, and we needed a bit of a refresh. He didn't get a chance to do that, and he went. You then look at Lopetegui, who he just didn't get on with. Hence, he tried to fight the bloke at half time. You could see he lost his rag against Spurs, which is very uncharacteristic for him. So I think one is we're not playing in his best position, and two is he's short of confidence. How do we get his confidence back? I don't know.
The only thing I will say is I don't think Mo's a bad player. I just think he's had a bad season. We've seen it many a times with players where they have a bad season and they need a fresh new outlook next season. Now, this season, why has his performances dropped off? There's many reasons, like Jay's sort of got into. First things first, a change of manager halfway through the season doesn't help the situation. The manager that come in didn't really play him in his natural position. I was screaming it for many a time. Why is he playing on the left? Why is Mo on the left? For me, Mo can play as a 10 or on the right. But when you've got Bowen on the right and Kudus on the right, you can't play both of them in the same position. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's got to be an element of sort of flexibility on that. I feel like he started off okay, and this season's just gone as a flop as a whole. And there's not really many. If I was to ask someone right now, name me 5 positives from this season, yeah, you'd probably be struggling there. If I'm being truthfully honest, to sort of name 5 reasonable, fair, right, assessments of players, managers, etc. But when I look at him, I don't see a bad player there. I see a lot of West Ham fans going in on him and comparing him to Ben Rama. And listen, I think that's laughable to a point because I liked Benny right for West Ham, but he's nowhere near on that level. Do you know what I mean? Ben Rama is a lower end player, and Mo has got potential to go on to be a very, very top class player. Hopefully, Potter can sort of turn his fortunes around, but can he? That is the real question, Jay.
That is the question, and the difficult thing with the Ben Rama comparison as well is I actually looked up this comparison because Hammers Hub posted a comparison of the two. And mate, the stats are actually in favour of Ben Rama. You can't judge it by stats. Always use your eyes as well. Like we'll not just lean on statistics, but goals per game, they're about the same. Ben Rama's better for assists. I think Kudus' only like significant stat that he's better at was dribbling based stats, which we would expect from Mo. But even then, when they won a one in a wide position, I'd back Ben Rama to get to the byline clear of his man more than I'd back Kudus to do it, because that's not Kudus' game. So for Potter to get the best out of him, I think if we're going to carry on playing this 3-5-2 with him as one of the forwards, I think he's going to struggle. I don't think this formation suits him. And I remember there was people calling for Kudus to play in a false 9. I don't think we have the personnel to play that, and I don't think that's his best game. Personally, I think I back Potter in terms of his man management skills, in terms of how he manages to get the best out of players and manages to help players to reach their potential. I won't name the names, but look at his track record at Brighton as players that had tons of potential and the transfer fees they then were sold for. So he's got a track record of being able to put an arm around someone, figure out how to get the best out of them, and do it. So I would say in terms of the manager that we've got the right man to do that, but he's got to get him in the right position. You look at what his favoured position is, which is a 3-4-2-1 / a 3-4-3 with the wingers being a little bit more narrow. Again, he's going to be on the left-hand side of those 2 10s, or like the left wing slot, effectively. That's the only way you get him into this side and Jared Bowen in the side, because I don't personally see a future for Jared Bowen as a centre forward. He can do it. No question he can do it, but he's much better on the right-hand side. I think I said in a previous chat that we had that whenever we change formation because we're chasing a game, Bowen's a different animal. The second you stick him out on the right-hand side and he isolates a fullback, he looks unbelievable. And that is his best position. So for me, the future for West Ham has Jared Bowen on the right side of that sort of 2 number 10s in the box. If Kudus is still there next season, it's probably him on the left-hand side of it, which I love Mo. I'm really happy to have him as part of the club, and I wouldn't be selling him just willy-nilly and just saying he should go. That's not what I think is best for West Ham. But we're going to have to figure out how to get him in the game, and we're going to have to figure out how to teach him how to play there properly, because at the moment, it's not working.
I think it's a tricky one next year, because we're going to play this 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 or however you want to put it. I'm going to ask you this, because I honestly don't know, is where does he fit next year in this team? Like, if he goes a 3-4-1-2, is he a 10? Is he a centre forward? Or is he just going to be sold, basically?
That's such a difficult question to answer, isn't it? Because
it is really,
this is the thing. We knew when we were getting Potter, we knew what his philosophy is. He's a 3 at the back manager. He likes wing backs. He likes 3 at the back. He likes his midfield and his forwards to be very narrow, because the wing backs provide the width generally, which in principle should work for him. We'd need Ollie Scholes, who's going to be the left wing back, is going to be super important if he plays the 3-4-2-1 and has Kudus narrow. Ollie Scholes is going to be super important. As far as I'm concerned, I'd like to see Ollie Scholes get the sort of first choice at left wing back next year. But he's got to create that space for Mo by going beyond him. Because at the moment, he gets 3/4 of the way up the pitch. Looks like he's obviously still not fully bedded into the first team football. He's still not used to it. That's fine. It's no problem at all. But the whole idea of that formation is he has to run beyond his fullback to create the space for the forward players. And that's when Mo can drop into a position where he can do some damage. At the moment, that's not happening, and it's not working for him. So that's the only way I can potentially see it working, is if we get the formation fully right. Otherwise, he's best in a 4-2-3-1, and we don't play that. So then if we're going to say he has to play on the right-hand side, I don't think he's going to be starting next year, is the simple thing.
Is it a case, before we move on, is it a case that he might have to change a position, so to speak? Instead of being a centre forward, he might have to go as I don't know what to say, like a left wing back. Because I'm seeing Somerville being mentioned as a wing back. Is Mo going to be that, or is it? Are we destroying the player ourselves? That's the problem, Jay, that I've got. Are we looking at Mohammed Kudus, and we've got a talented footballer there, and we're playing in literally the wrong position? It's like square pegs in round holes, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the Somerville one's probably a bit different because of the profile of the player. Mo's at his best with his back to goal. Somerville's at his best, like facing someone up and running at him. So when you put Somerville at right wing back, I think it works a lot better. There's a lot of people talking about like Bowen going to right wing back as well, which I don't see that as that's a non-starter for me. Somerville's a very different profile of player, and we've seen on numerous occasions when we had Somerville fit and playing, how often were we defending a transition and Somerville was the one who was bursting to get back. So he has the right he has the right personality. He's in the right headspace to play that position, which is why, again, we've only seen it for 40 minutes, but which is why he did it so well when he did play it. And he offers exactly what Potter's going to want: go beyond your opposite wing back, opposite fullback, and get a crossing. Lo and behold, that resulted in Paqueta scoring in that game. So I don't see Mo as that player. First of all, we know he doesn't do well on the left. Like, it's not his favoured position, and I wouldn't invert him into a right wing back. His crossing isn't his strength. Again, he's best cutting back and crossing, not going beyond someone. So I think it's a non-starter, mate. I think he's going to have to figure out how to play on the left-hand side of the 2 10s. And I think interchanging with Bowen would be really, really useful. And we saw when that happened against Everton at the weekend, Bowen found a space, found Souček, and we scored. So I think there's a chance, mate, but he has to be in the forward line for me.
Let's come to this. What is an acceptable fee for Mohammed Kudus this summer, if sold?
Well, the man's got an 85 mil release clause that comes active again in the summer. I don't think there's any chance of anyone paying that. I think
I
there's
agree with you.
absolutely no chance. And the talk is that we're not going to have a lot of money to spend in the summer. How much you believe that, I don't know. So you've said it before, and I completely agree with you. The only way we're getting big money for Kudus in the summer is if Saudi money comes in. And that's the only way you could have a
Yeah.
sensible conversation about getting sensible money for him. And you got to look at this in another way as well. That is, Potter needs to build the squad in his name in the summer. We can't be going and having a mishmash like we had in the previous summer, where you had, I think we had 2 were Sullivan signings, 2 were Steiden signings,
Yeah.
2 were Lopetegui signings, and then there was a couple that were a mix of all of them. We can't be having that. It needs to be Potter and McCauley sitting down and doing what they've done best at previous clubs, getting the right profile of players in. And if this could fund, let's say you could get good money, which I'll come on to in a moment, but let's say you could get good money and you could buy 2 players in key positions, like a striker and a natural number 10. I think you'd have to look at it, and you'd have to be pragmatic about,
Yeah, I
does
know
this actually help you build Potter's squad in his name? For me, I'm going to say we ain't getting 85, we ain't getting 70. I think if you get a bid of 55 to 60, you got to seriously look at it, and you got to say, like, this is a chance to get 2 top quality players in to replace him. And then whilst we've now got a brilliant footballer who doesn't quite fit the system, you could get 2 very good footballers who do fit the system, which would be more important than having 1 really good player.
This is so tricky, this one, because you don't sell your best players. It's like it's as simple as that. You just don't. For me, you just don't sell your best players. And what it is with us is we seem to want to sell our best players to sort of benefit the squad, if that makes sense. So, like for instance, we need money this summer, so we've got to go and sell Mo in order to boost the squad, because the squad's so, like, it needs so much work doing to it. Now, on the one side of it, I could get what you're saying, because where does he fit? That's the problem, is when you look at him next season and you look at this philosophy that Graham Potter's going to do, it's quite a tricky one. I'm going to be honest. 3 at the back, 3-4-3, or 3-4-1-2, or 5-3-2. It seems like it's more a centre forward and a 10 rather than wingers and like inside forwards, basically. How much we're selling for? I think you have to wait until the 85, if I'm being honest. I think because if the 85's in there, he's more beneficial to us, like, at the club, than he is selling him for 60. I know it's only 25 mil, but that 25 mil goes and gets you a centre half of quality, or goes and gets you a like little young up and coming dynamic midfielder or something. I think West Ham. I don't like it that West Ham have to try and sell this man in order to boost the side, if that makes sense. It seems like it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But I personally don't see where he fits. I don't see where he fits in the long term of it. If I was to pick a starting 11 next year and he's got all his players in, where does Mo come into it? Like, Bowen's the boy, isn't he? Let's be real. Bowen's always going to start. I don't want him to go, but I don't know where he fits. And that is the question that needs to be asked, of like, is he worth selling in order for, like, to benefit the side? Now, I honestly don't know on this, Jay. I really don't. I don't want to see him go, because I think we've got a good player there that we're letting go. And it seems like we've got an habit of this at West Ham. We seem to have good players. They go somewhere else and they smash it. And then we're left with, like, mediocre crap. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to say I'd wait for the 85 mil. I don't think, personally, I don't know about you, Jay, but I don't think a Premier League club comes in for him for 85 mil. I'll be quite shocked, really, if I'm being honest. If a bid from Liverpool or Arsenal or someone like that comes in for 85 mil, then we've had it right off. Yeah, because then you can accept it then, because you go 85 mil, you can sort of rebuild the whole side enough with that. Do you know what I'm saying? I just feel like if we let him go, and we're forced to let him go to sort of help Potter, I don't think that's right. I think we're losing a player, and he's a player that, on his day, I don't like to say it, but on his day, he can potentially be a well beater. Do you know what I mean? But it's very few and far between. So I'm going to say wait for the 85. And I think anything less than that I think we're admitting defeat, if I'm being truthfully honest. Any final words, Jay, on Mohammed Kudus at West Ham?
First and foremost, before anyone comes at me in the comments, I'm not saying I want to sell him.
Yeah.
The only way in which I would want to sell him is if we've identified two really good players who fit the system, who we know we're going to get bang for our buck, and who we know are going to improve us. Otherwise, I think Potter's got a really good chance of getting the best out of him again in the summer. We said this about Lopetegui, give him a summer to like bed the signings in and do whatever, and it didn't work. And we've heard a lot of stories in the background as to why it didn't work. Hopefully, with a more streamlined recruitment approach, two guys that know each other really well in Potter and McCauley, and a full summer to go, right, let's actually strip this formation back. Let's figure it out. Let's improve in the areas we need to. We need a striker. We need a centre back. We need a centre mid. We know that's there. We need a spine of our team, basically. If you get a strong spine of the team and you have Kudus and Bowen still as the number 10s with chance to actually work with players who suit the formation, I'm confident he could get the best out of him. But like I say, 60, 65 comes in and you get the chance to get two top quality players in. I'm not gonna turn it down. You turn a profit on a player and it's job done. And I don't want to see him go, but in that scenario, I could probably accept it.
Do you think, just to round this video up, do you think it's a big risk for Potter to allow him to let him go in case Potter doesn't work out for any reason? Which I think whatever happens in the summer, Potter's going to be looked at. Like, he's being looked at now. He's being severely looked at now. So in the summer, the sort of the light will be shining firmly on Graham Potter. Yeah. So do you think he has to get this one right? If he keeps Mo, he's got to make sure Mo's the player that he wants and he believes in. Or if he lets him go, he's got to be able to say, right, I've let him go and I've allowed him to go because I know I can get other players in who are going to make West Ham a more better squad rather than individuals.
Look at it this way. I think it's a bigger risk. Let's say a bid of £60 million comes in. I think it's a bigger risk for Potter to say no to that than it is to say yes. His key objective when he came in was sort out our leaky defence, and he's done that. Conceded 2 in the last 4 games, and with no changes to the squad. So he's proven that he can change that, and he's improved us defensively. What he hasn't done is improve us going forward, and that's the key area. So if you get 60 million quid to get rid of a player who's, let's face it, underperformed this season, and you can go and reinvest that in someone who's going to be hungry, who's going to fit the system, who's going to come in and who's going to produce more, I think it's a big risk for you to turn down a big money bid as opposed to keep him because, what if someone else takes him and he cooks? Like, I'd rather we say goodbye to him because I trust Potter as a defensive coach and we need to see him get the right reinforcements going forward as well. So, yeah, I think it's a bigger risk to keep him there if a big bid comes in.
Yeah. I agree. It's right, though. I will say. Smash a like on the video. It goes a long way. It really helps this channel out. Hopefully I get a good few likes on this video. Subscribe to E20 Zone TV. Hit the notification bell. I'll get my words out. And that has been me and Jay. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I always like to hear what you say about Mohammed Kudus and whether you would want to keep him, how much you'd want to sell him for, and where does he fit? That's the real question that I need to be asked, is where does he fit next season under Graham Potter? This season is a dead season. We all know it. And we're just going through the motions of this season. It's like the slow death, basically. But next season, Graham Potter here, he's going to have his own players in. Where does Mohammed Kudus fit next season at West Ham? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. That's been Jay. That's been me. I'll see you again. Peace.